I want to talk about something today that might make you uncomfortable. Something that kind people don't like to think about. The difference between being kind and being used. Because here's what I've learned, and what I wish someone had told me sooner. They're not the same thing. Not even close. But for those of us who were raised to give, to help, to be there, to say yes, the line between them can become invisible. Until one day we wake up exhausted, empty, wondering why our kindness feels like a wound instead of a gift. Let me tell you when kindness stops being kindness. Kindness stops being kindness when it costs you your peace. Kindness stops being kindness when it's expected, not appreciated. Kindness stops being kindness when saying no feels impossible. Kindness stops being kindness when you disappear in the giving. That's not kindness anymore. That's something else. And it has a name. It's called being used. Here's the difference, and pay attention because this matters. Kindness is a gift. Being used is a transaction where only one side knows the terms. Kindness fills you up. Being used drains you dry. Kindness is freely chosen. Being used is quietly coerced. Kindness makes you more yourself. Being used makes you less. The tragedy is this. The kindest people are often the most blind to when they were being used. Because they don't think in terms of taking. They don't keep score. They give because giving feels right, and they assume, wrongly, that everyone else operates the same way, that not everyone does. Some people see kindness and feel gratitude. Others see kindness and feel opportunity. And if you can't tell the difference between those people, you will spend your life being emptied by the wrong ones. Let me ask you something. Think about the people in your life who receive your kindness most often. Do they ask about you? Do they check in when you're struggling? Do they show up when you need them? Or does the relationship only flow one direction, toward them, always toward them? This isn't about keeping score. This is about noticing patterns, because patterns tell the truth that words often hide. Here's what I want you to understand. Being kind does not mean being available to everyone, all the time for everything. Being kind does not mean saying yes when your soul is screaming no. Being kind does not mean tolerating people who only value you for what you provide. You can be kind and have boundaries. In fact, the kindest people I know have the clearest boundaries. Because they've learned something crucial. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's sustainable. There are two types of kind people. The first type gives without limits. They say yes to everything. They're always available, always helping, always there. And slowly, invisibly, they start to resent it. They start to feel tired, not because they're doing too much, but because they're giving to people who only know how to take. These are the people who wake up one day and don't recognize themselves, who wonder where their joy went, who feel guilty for wanting something back. The second type has learned the difference. They give freely, but not endlessly. They help, but they also notice who helps them. They re-kind, but they not afraid to walk away from people who confuse their kindness for weakness. These people still give, but they give from overflow, not obligation. And that makes all the difference. Here's a question that changed my life. If I stopped giving to this person, would they still be here? That's not a cynical question, it's a clarifying one. Because it shows you who values you and who values what you provide. The people who love you will stay even when you have nothing to give. The people who use you will disappear the moment you stop being useful. And knowing which is which will save you years of misplaced kindness. So here's my invitation to you. Start noticing. Not with suspicion, but with awareness. Notice who gives back. Notice who only takes. Notice who asks how you're doing. Notice who only shows up when they need something. And then, here's the hard part, act on what you notice. You're allowed to redirect your kindness. You're allowed to give less to the people who drain you and more to the people who fill you. You're allowed to close doors that were always open. You're allowed to say, I'm still kind, but I'm not available for this anymore. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. Being kind is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things a person can be. But kindness without boundaries isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment dressed up as virtue, and you deserve better than that. So be kind. Please be kind, but also be awake, be aware. Be willing to protect the beautiful thing that your kindness is by giving it to people who recognize it as the gift it truly is. The difference between being kind and being used isn't complicated. One leaves you whole, the other leaves you empty. Choose the people who let you stay whole